Lewis, are you ready to do that thing?
Yeah.
Hello everybody, my name is Mark.
No, wait, I don't think that's ours. We have to be in private because otherwise people will join us. Hello guys, welcome to this video. We're gonna react to... What are we gonna react to?
Shed 17.
Shit 17.
That's cool.
Oh.
Balls vids.
Vids ball.
Soder Island.
1982.
1982? Oh, wow.
Look, it's Thomas the Train.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh no, what happened?
What happened here?
Yeah, the storm's coming. Oh, this is sad. They exchanged the kid for the peace sign.
Yeah, everything that was there before was like no more.
Yeah.
Feels like.
What the? Look, damn, look at my forehead.
Man, what is...
What happened to Thomas?
Oh
They cut his face off.
They were the stories that have charmed an entire generation. From the books to the television series, people around the world have grown up with the railway stories, and all their cheerful characters. But the truth behind Thomas and his friends was no children's fantasy. The truth would be horrifying.
Oh shit.
God. What is that supposed to mean?
I have no idea.
17.
It is 1945, and the remote island of Sodor, off the northwest coast of England, has emerged from the fog of World War II, relatively unscathed and untouched.
The island served as a detention camp for England.
What?
That's how Professor came to be
Keith
here.
Harley?
Professor Wilhelm Goetze was born in 1903 in Munich, Germany. A doctor in biology, he became a prominent advisor to the ruling
No.
party in the 30s.
What?
What is this? See, Hitler?
Yeah, it's Hitler.
In 1939, as war escalated, he, his wife Olga, and 4-year-old son Hans fled the country.
Games. World at War.
I mean, 1973? Wait,
Ja,
what?
ich habe nie einen solchen Befehl bekommen. Er hat einmal gefragt, nicht wahr? Am 14. Mai 1942 war der Großadmiral Räder und ich bei ihm.
That's what he wanted people to believe. The fact is, his experiments were hard to stomach even for his own people.
In truth, he had become a prominent figure in the government, but as his work progressed, questions and objections had been raised in the higher echelons of the Reich.
His work with genetics and DNA was truly pioneering. The cracking and
Holy
manipulating of the human genome. What Professor Goetze was most successful in, however, was keeping his history a secret until his death.
In an attempt to gain favour among the German
Where did he die
hierarchy, Wilhelm Goetze
Ligma.
was at the forefront of the government's most fanatical policies. In 1938, he was influential in instigating the infamous Sajmelnacht, the Night of Sawdust. But, as his experiments advanced, he became a much less
It's funny
popular
to pronounce
figure
it.
and soon
Yeah.
feared
Funny
for
to pronounce
his
it like that.
and his family's lives.
As soon as he escaped to England, he was banged up here. But locals were nice to him. There was no hostility, and many of them chose to live here after the war.
Following their release, Professor Goetze, Olga, and young Hans chose to remain. After studying under his father, Hans left at the age of 18 and went to university on the mainland, studying biology and engineering, writing several pioneering papers about genetics and the splicing of DNA with mechanical implants.
Damn, he made the full
Called it biofusion, the technique of manipulating genetic material to splice with mechanical attachments. However, much like his father, the British government became more and more concerned with Hans Goetz's proposals. So he was forced to seek financial backing from home.
His dad left Germany with quite a few bob, so Hans came back. He saw our little island as some sort of refuge where he could work in peace. Soon every nutcase and eccentric was coming over.
By 1962, Hans had set up Sodor Research, a small lab near the town of Almere, but soon the enterprise began supplying medical equipment and machinery, and quickly grew to become a large complex, comprising its own links to the growing Sodor rail system.
Young Abby Collins was working there when Professor Hans took a liking to her. Soon they were married, and not long after, the town was buzzing with news of her pregnancy.
Baby Thomas was born in 1968. Throughout the early years of his life, he was a growing railway network fascination.
He couldn't get enough of trains. His dad bought him one of the first video cameras, and he'd be on the platforms every day. You can see me in some of those tapes.
Damn, who was the guy that made this?
Thomas. But he was friends with everyone, even that simple bloke who could only say where he lived.
Oh god, who's that person?
His favourite trains were the old steam engines.
Yeah, but like he made all the 3D characters and everything. I see, it's nice.
But Hans also had a fondness for them, much like his son, and likes to keep them running for our purposes, taking orders from the labs to the growing docks, or to the mainland to be transferred to modern postal express trains.
But as the Sodor rail system expanded, it found itself increasingly under the supervision of the new British rail network and appointed a new controller.
Oi! Get off my f***ing platform!
Holy shit.
Sir Topham Hatt. Born into money, he took his ridiculous name to heart and started wearing a top hat all the time.
The fat
Of
shit.
course, Mr. Evans had a different name for him.
Fat bastard. You've never met such a cold-hearted
But
He banned all steam engine volunteers and cut most of rail employees,
steam engines?
shut down the branch lines
Definitely, yeah.
and smaller stations. He was happy to let the railway rust away, just like they did to main line.
But the fortunes of the railway were about to take a profitable turn, a stroke of luck for the island that would result from tragedy.
Come on, we're gonna be late!
fat friend? What?
Thomas, get moving!
Young Thomas loved following railway. He'd be out all the time, hoping to catch a new train on his camera.
11:45's coming through soon. He won't wait for us.
Wants to catch a camera?
Unfortunately,
He wants to catch a train?
he didn't
He wants to catch the train, yeah.
To the safety signs.
Where are the trains?
I'm not being late again.
Didn't take much
Have I
notice of the
missed it
safety
yet?
lines?
Wait for the 11:45. Never mind the 11:45. It must be late again. Thomas, come on. It's always held up.
Something's not right here.
What is going on? Holy shit!
Shit! Oh, that scared me so bad.
Oh my...
Hans was more.
No!
He disappeared
Thomas.
from public view and into the labs. Locking himself in, he wouldn't allow anyone in there.
God, dude.
Eventually his father Wilhelm came to see him.
In a few days,
He's probably dead!
locked down, followed by an
he is
engine
dead.
maintenance shed, which was to become
He
off
is
limits
dead.
to
He got
all.
hit by a speeding
All
train.
production was
Holy
shut
shit, that
down.
train was going
All
like
was
600 kilometers per hour.
Professor Goetzes didn't care. More and more equipment was being delivered daily, but no one was allowed in Shed 17.
Questions started being asked on
wasn't anyone
Sodor.
allowed in
Where
Shed
were the
17 in Shed
Goetzes?
17?
Would there be no funeral
I don't
for
know.
young Thomas? And where was the body?
They'd arranged for Thomas to be transferred to a mainland hospital. He'd been taken to the complex but was never moved by rail. We all assumed the obvious, he was still in lab.
But if Thomas was there, was he still alive? And what was the purpose of keeping him at the complex? Almost a year after the accident, the doors of Sodor Research were reopened.
What the
They
fuck?
an invitation to the people of
They
the
were open?
island
Oh my god!
Thomas,
of Shed
that's how
17.
Thomas was born.
It took me
Oh
a
my
moment
God.
to realise what it was I was looking at. When he looked at me and said,
Hiya, Mr. Hartley?
It dawned on me what Hans Goetzer and his dad had done. One woman passed out as Thomas smiled at us. I had to run off around the side of the ship.
Why don't they put this story inside of the original cartoon?
As news spread
Keith
across
grew
the
up.
country, the world's media,
Yeah.
Sodor Island.
Ghost experiment. ITN.
ITN.
They kept trying to interview me. I became a bit of a celebrity.
News at 10.
Controversy.
My God.
Sodor Island.
Doesn't it look kind of creepy when Thomas
Questions
looks at
asked
you?
about
Yeah.
science ethics.
It's fair to say I was
because it
pretty
has
nervous
like a
at
face that
times.
can, like,
Joined
talk
now
to you.
by Keith Hartley.
I think more because it's a trained human.
What do you
It's
think
so-
when
Yeah,
you
trained
first
humor,
came to meet
probably.
Thomas the Tank Engine?
Bruh, why you threw up again? London Weekend Television.
Most of my mates said I looked pretty good on telly. The mayor said I'd represented the people.
The fuck?
It's important to show you're confident when people are asking you awkward questions.
Good evening. An act of mercy or a crime against humanity? I am joined now by
Even when some of the questions got difficult, I made sure I knew what I was talking about.
What was your reaction when you first met a talking tank engine?
Holy shit, he can't stop puking.
Or if you can't string together two words on telly, well, maybe
Yeah.
it shouldn't be on there.
There are two sides to this.
Admittedly, the subject matter was a bit bizarre sometimes.
There are some dark forces at work here.
You're alright as long as you...
Wait, yeah, your volume.
Any questions?
No, it's my fault.
The only question they agreed to answer had been asked repeatedly.
I should always put Discord as a kind of a strange volume, and if you don't put someone at 200 of volume, it's not the original one. It's strange.
Oh, okay.
Must
Oh,
work
okay,
on
I
the
see you.
railway.
Yeah.
The response was an emphatic no.
Thomas's DNA had been reprogrammed to accept and adapt to the engine structure, using the engine's internal system to maintain his organic functions. What no one could be sure of was how much of the engine was mechanical and how much was organic material.
Thomas had been able to move around without
jeez.
coaches, but to work on the railway,
Organic
his engine
material?
would need to be fired up
Yeah.
and operated by a driver and fireman.
Since no one could be sure how much of the engine was Thomas,
Oh,
the by the engine could rupture his organs from the inside, and the incredible heat could boil him alive. Professor Hans and his father vowed Thomas would never work on the railways.
Similarly, the two professors were to refuse many requests by people from around the world who wished to be biofused
Indeed.
into engines.
There were billionaires offering to pay whatever they wanted to be converted into an engine or some other transport. Train enthusiasts, people with terminal illnesses were
funny face.
desperate to be made into trains.
Was it John Cena?
The Goetzers refused.
looks like
There
John
would be
Cena.
other interested parties, eager to seize on the biofusion gold mine. The independently
Top
wealthy
Hat.
Topham
Yes, FM.
staged a hostile takeover, and within weeks had bought a controlling share in Sodor research.
Immediately, the policy of the company changed, and so did the ethics. The medical supply wing was shut down, and work began on mass biofusion experiments and operations. Anyone who could afford it, some handing over their whole fortunes, were turned into engines.
The fuck?
But, along with the new policy, there would be worse to come. Biofused engines would be allowed, then obliged, to work on the railways.
The first one we fired up was James. He didn't have the money some of these people
James?
had, and so
Oh,
agreed to
Jesus.
basically sign his life away if they wanted to experiment further, or to take massive risks like this. As usual, the fat had everything recorded. All kept classified, you understand.
These recordings, shown for the first time, reveal the extent of Sir Topham Hatt's experiments.
It was horrible watching these engines work on the railways some days. But the tourists wanted to see it. They expected it. And for me, it was work.
But, with the new engine's increasing work schedule, came more and more accidents.
Holy shit.
Edward was first to have problems. He'd been filming all day for the new TV series they'd announced, and for his last scene, he had to pull into Wellsworth Station and whistle to the kids on the platform.
Whistled Edward. Thank you very much.
What the heck?
Sadly,
okay.
this was only the first in an increasing number of incidents.
Harold had an obsession with
Holy
aircraft
shit.
and had paid to become a helicopter. The operation had gone well, but we had to ban him from being allowed to attempt flight.
In an experiment kept secret until now, Mavis the diesel engine was to be the first biofused locomotive used on the railway.
We fueled her up and everything seemed fine. Then things got out of hand.
The diesel began to burn her internal organs. Everything organic in the engine was soon burning.
Have you ever heard a locomotive scream in pain?
Screaming.
Tried rinsing
Holy
out the
shit.
happy water,
Oh my god.
but by then it was too late.
Mavis's body would be kept on
God,
lock
that
and
face
key
gives me the fucking
indefinitely.
creeps.
In an unexpected U-turn, Sir Thomas
What happened to her eyes? She doesn't have eyes anymore.
from being used on the island.
Well, she
Harold
got
was never
burned.
told
Do you
why he
think?
couldn't
Can you
fly,
blame it?
But
Nah,
the
no,
engine
that's
was
true.
keeping
Got
alive,
burned.
if only for a little while longer.
In fact, unknown to the outside world, there had been many failed biofusion experiments.
That fat bastard kept the accidents a secret, and legal disclaimers had to be signed by anyone being biofused. So there'd be no legal action taken if anything went wrong.
This footage shows engines being displayed to tourists during the off-season.
Nice.
Many of these engines were failed biofusion experiments and were too ill to work or were already dead.
They had
Holy
to
shit.
put a stop to that though.
Wait, why? The fuck?
With all accidents happening, everyone started asking the same thing.
What?
Why
Did you hear
Thomas,
those people
the
screaming?
first engine, worked so well?
Despite all the troubles the other engines had, Thomas had worked fine, seemingly oblivious to the other engines' problems and accidents.
Keeping their problems a secret from the outside world, Sodor
Well, shit, it is creepy when he moves his eyes.
to other countries in multi-million-pound deals. These countries would have less qualms about the use of fuel engines and even the modern electric trains. Even failed biofused engines were being displayed publicly in what would become a kind of freak show.
Oh, shit.
Horror, Professor Hans Goetze saw what this was leading to, slavery of engines, and immediately resigned. His father,
Construction.
Wilhelm, would go one step further.
Old German music.
German. What's going on here?
More dance music.
It's tense, bro. Is he alright?
No, he has some flashbacks.
Oh. Is that a gun?
I think so. Maybe he wants to
Yes.
become Hitler.
It is. Oh god, what is he gonna do?
No,
What
he's
is he
gonna
gonna
shoot
do?
himself. Yeah. Oh no.
Do suicide? What he's doing? Why is he doing suicide?
What came out of him?
Professor
not
Wilhelm
blood.
couldn't come
yeah.
to terms with what was happening to his engines, and took the only course.
Holy shit, he's a flammable system.
That fat got a load of us rail staff over to his house to clean up after the body was taken away. You should have seen it. Sawdust everywhere. It took us days.
Sawdust?
Yeah, because he's so old.
Sawdust come out of
Sodor's
him?
secret was short-lived after a very public accident.
Gordon paid an enormous
I
amount
think
to
so,
get
at least.
Sodor's first 462 configuration engine. Much bigger than any other engine at the time. We were terrified that fat shite would make us fire up that huge engine.
We were shocked to discover he had insisted on being able to work on the railway. So, one night, after the regular staff had finished for the day, Fat some of the rail staff and I fired up the engine.
As usual, these experiments were filmed.
Recording how
Footage
it
has never
goes.
been broadcast before.
Dr. Ruth and I filmed it all.
It might be a bit shaky, it was handheld. At first, Gordon complained about the heat. Then that turned to pleas to douse the fire.
But that fat bastard held us back. He wanted to see what would happen.
He argued
Why?
he put a lot of work
I have
into
no idea.
Gordon, and the chances to get him working
It's crazy.
were too great an opportunity. He was literally
God, what's he
cooking
doing?
from the inside. By the time we were
What the
about to
fuck?
act, it was too late.
I wasn't
my
as near
God.
to him as some of
Holy
them.
shit.
All I could do was run. I was lucky to get away with some singed clothes. Others weren't so lucky.
The fateful few hours following the accident would seal the fate of Sodor research.
The fat stopped us trying to put out the fire, insisting that any evidence would fall back on us.
He kept repeating, "This was all your fault. You knew the dangers. You're legally to blame." He stopped us calling
needs-
for an ambulance.
dude, this
and
guy
called the
needs
fire
help.
brigade.
We told him, these are
needs
injured
help.
people here. They're going to die unless we do something. But he kept saying, no
I mean, they
one
called
on
him
the outside
fat, so,
can come
you
in.
know.
No one can.
He got a little angry.
Finally, someone suggested
Yeah, I
we
guess he did.
airlift them to hospital. Harold was banned from flying for his own safety. But we
No,
felt
not the
risk was worth
helicopter.
it.
Helicopter.
Harold was a nervous experience.
His
Would he
face.
have the same reaction Mavis had?
We all breathed a sigh of relief and loaded the injured people aboard. Then it all went wrong.
What do you mean it all went wrong? He's having trouble.
Yeah.
Is that blood coming from the propeller?
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that didn't go so well.
Harold's engine had worked fine, but what no one realized was most of Harold's lower extremities were permanently fused to his propeller system.
As Harold's rotor blades began to spin, vital organs would be drawn into the motor and tear him apart from the inside.
Oh shit.
Now
Oh,
there was
that's
no covering it up. The smoke could be seen all morning, but news people were here in an instant. We were told to close gates and start clearing up the mess ourselves, with some help.
Henry Thierry was the
Yeah.
420 gauge engine on the island.
Henry.
Had been working on the railway regularly. He had become popular among tourists and the locals.
Henry was called into the yard to help tidy the mess. Working mostly at night, he would cart away the wreckage under cover of darkness.
We had to work quickly and quietly. Henry would cart wreckage from the yard away to the sea. Then one night the points were set wrong and we were diverted to another shed.
Henry had inadvertently been sent to shed number 17, where Thomas
Oh, no.
Henry was sent to Henry was sent to shed 17.
subsequently been declared out of bounds.
It was dark and these sheds all looked the same. I unlocked the doors and Henry rolled in. I didn't see what Henry saw.
No, poor
As
Henry.
soon as he put his head through doors, he bolted and reversed out.
What do you see?
Keith locked the shed up without seeing
no
what
idea.
was inside. But Henry had seen it all.
We wouldn't
What did he
even
see?
dare talk about that shed. More than our job's worth.
But Henry had decided to speak up and confront Sir Topham Hatt. That night, he
Yes.
arrived at the railway controller's office.
I don't know what was said in there, but there were raised voices at times. They had a shouting match for 10 minutes. Then Henry left, back to the shed.
By pure chance, he was sent back to the same shed as Thomas that night, and with one sentence, he sealed
Oh.
both their fates.
Henry only said one thing to him: stay away from shed 17. The next day, the
Look at Thomas.
had a new job for him.
Fun. World in action.
The Flying Keeper route ran through the night, delivering fish from the docks to the mainland,
Where's he going?
across the highest altitude line in the country.
That old line was treacherous at best, but when Henry was put on there, in the middle of winter, it was a death trap.
In 1970, fish had started being delivered by road to the mainland. It was safer and more cost-effective, and the line was declared redundant.
Nice.
Dangerous and unnecessary, it came as a shock to the islanders when it was reopened.
That fat shite always hated Henry. He didn't like his cheerful manner, and he clearly had other lifestyle choices when he was a human. Fat wanted Henry away from the other engines, and Kipper Run was a death sentence.
On the night of February the 8th,
This is a nice, cozy image though.
Henry had
Nice,
been on
nice
the Kipper
graphics.
Run for a week. The following
That fat
incident
shit is
would be
mean.
made into
Yeah.
a book and later recreated in the television
Oh.
series.
This is the train the railwaymen call the Flying Kipper.
Can you
Flying
believe they
Kipper,
put
what
it
do
in
they
a
call
kid's
that?
story?
Media.
That fat f***er changed quite a few of their facts.
They couldn't know the points from the main line to a siding were frozen, and the home signal should have been set at danger, but snow had forced it down.
As the train approached the most treacherous part of the line, unnoticed to Henry, his driver and firemen, the points had diverted them to the adjoining siding and right into the path of another train.
Oh shit. A propane tank.
They're gonna crash into them?
He's gonna explode.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh no.
No, he died.
Yep.
Henry's driver and fireman had jumped clear before the crash.
In fact, Al and Barry died from their injuries.
Oh,
Slowly,
Jesus.
in snow, the poor bastards.
By midday, the
He was still there, the
operation
fat
was underway, and Sir Topham Hatt had arrived.
Cheer up, Henry, it wasn't your fault. Ice and snow caused the accident.
These
bastard.
images from a train spotter's camera were taken the evening before and were successfully covered up by the Sodor Railway Board for 10 years.
There was a railway spike in points, blocking
Oh
them.
no.
Of course, that had disappeared by the time we got there.
I'm sending you to Crewe, a fine place for sick engines.
Crew. We all knew what that meant.
They'll give you a new shape and a larger firebox.
Crewe was, at the time, one of only 2 scrap metal yards in the UK capable of handling and recycling organic material as
Oh
well
no, what
as
the hell?
engine parts.
You'll feel a different engine and won't need special coal anymore.
With those few words, he'd sentence Henry to death.
Won't that be nice? Yes, sir, said Henry doubtfully.
Everyone knew he wouldn't see him again, and everything was sewn up nice and neat for that fat f***.
What are
Oh my
they
God.
doing
But
to
out
him?
about
Henry.
Henry's accident, it didn't take long for Thomas to realise Henry had been disposed of because of what he knew.
The next evening, Thomas had been put on his own for the night at Knapford Station.
What happened to Thomas'
As his driver and
nose?
fireman left, under what was left of his own steam, he set off for the Sodor Research Complex.
He had a small amount of burning fuel in his firebox, but he was mostly moving under his own strength. It took Thomas 3 hours to get to the complex, the effort to get there nearly killing him.
Thomas arrived at midnight. With no one around, he made his way to the shed where he was created. What
Shed
he found
17?
was the answers to his questions, and many others.
Since Sodor Research had begun producing biofuels vehicles, the world had asked,
Tell him to stay away from Shed 17.
Operation worked so well, but nearly every operation since had failed. Sadly, Thomas found the reasons inside.
What is that?
Fuck. Thomas was made with uranium.
Thomas had never
like a
been
big
the
tank.
first operation. He hadn't even been second.
What shed number 17 contained was evidence of several attempts to create a tank engine
What the fuck?
with Thomas's DNA. These had been early tests made by people with no experience
God.
of an
Oh my
experiment
God.
on this scale. Ill-planned and unprepared, these procedures had used DNA from the human Thomas and had been as much the real Thomas as the tank engine the world had come to know and love.
To us, Thomas the Tank Engine had been the Thomas we all knew as a boy. Part of the family the whole island's population had known and respected since Wilhelm first arrived.
in actuality, this tank engine was no more the real Thomas than
there
all
was
the failed
multiple
creations
Thomas then.
made over the 12 months before.
This Thomas had all the human Thomas's memories and experiences. He had learned what Thomas had learned, known who Thomas had known, but so had all the previous failures.
Oh.
Shit.
Wilhelm and Hans Goetze had to learn through trial and error how to bring their Thomas back from the dead. The following experiments had not had the same work put into them, resulting in the freak engines and aircraft that had developed so many problems on Sodor Island and around the world.
Man.
In Shed 17, Thomas wouldn't discover who he was, but in fact, who he wasn't.
And what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
I have no idea.
What's in that tank? What the hell? What is that?
What?
What the fuck?
Okay.
Oh god.
What the fuck?
Oh Jesus. I think I'm gonna get nightmares from this. We'll break through. What the?
Oh no.
What the fuck is
Okay.
He had no idea he was only one of many clones. None of us did. But I guess as time passed, we stopped asking all the questions we had at first.
Shit.
We were just glad our friend was back with us. He could work for us. He became our servant in a way. Someone who drew in the crowds, helped create jobs, was eager to work. Thomas always thought of us as his friends. Sadly, over time we came to think of him as just really useful.
Okay.
I don't think it's over.
In 1983, a government inquiry was launched into the heavens of Sodor Island. Ah shit. Biofusion was banned for the following year. They banned the biofused engines.
Oh.
What? Oh, the fat guy disappeared without
That
trace.
shit disappeared. 102 years old. Remaining a unit where he is currently
What the freak?
23.
Biofusion was later banned in Europe. Although biofuse was used to make Hitler. No, I'm joking. Sadly, in China, biofusion was still compulsory for all political prisoners. What? No.
今日會有一批水果、蔬菜抵達碼頭嘅。
What the fuck?
我要你將食物送去納福站，繼續做你自己日常嘅工作啦。
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Dude, why are you electrocuting a train?
Open the door.
Oh my god.
Starring ABL, Daniel T. Hold on, is it over already? Check the time.
Yeah, it's over. That was some creepy shit, bro.
Dude, what the hell was that?
I have no idea. It was a nice video, wasn't it, Luis?
It was something. I'm kind of scared though.
Well, that was Shed 17. So no, wait, how many views did he get? Wait, 2 million views 7 years ago?
See?
What? There's no way, bro.
That Wow.
That's a lot of time ago. I thought it was like a year ago or something.
It felt like it was a year ago.
That is going to be all for today, guys. I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.